of this number.
In
principle, when you see this, it is exactly what you could imagine when you think of how intelligent messages can be sent in the form of geometry.
Avebury, Alton Barnes, you know, that area, where they are seen really quite regularly, captured on film several times now. Particularly, I mean, those taken by Steve Alexander, for example, in 1990.
Yeah, we walked from that brow right across.
We were just about to leave, you see. I was leaving.
We saw it, yeah.
I was picking up my gear, put on my shoulder, and I turned, and I saw this object come into view. If it had been actually 5 seconds afterwards, we would have missed this, because we would have carried on up the hill. Now I actually turned round and saw it. Yeah. I mean, it came into view, it turned, then it went down into the corn, and it moved through the corn. It scared me.
Moving between two formations, crop formations that are in the field, moving from this one to this one.
It knew what it was doing, it knew where it was going.
Intelligently controlled.
Dropping down into a tractor tire mark as if it's looking at the tractor tire mark. Nothing random about it. There's no movement in prevailing wind, you know, moving as you would in the direction of the wind if this was a balloon or something similar.
You see, the object came down and it stopped for a long time. So I thought I'd pan away to the rings to give you the distance from actually where the object was and the rings were. Pan back and give you an actual relation of the two distances. Through all this time it was glinting, flashing all the time. Then it took off. And then of course then it just carried on over the hill, moved up and away, over the actual tractor which the farmer was in at the time.
Where's that piece of paper?
It's a bird.
What, a shiny bird?
You know, I spoke to the tractor driver who was seen on this film that Steve took, and that ball went over the tractor driver's head by about 35-40 feet. And what the tractor driver sees himself, as you can see on the film, he stops his tractor as he sees us go over the top. And so we have on film this ball of light. There's no question in my mind that whatever those balls of light are, they move in a purposeful manner.
The footage is simply too good to be true. But then, in the year 2000, scientist Dr. Eltje Hazeloff from the Netherlands delivered what appears to be a convincing and ultimate proof.
If you perform trivial experimental physics to the plans in these crop circles, you can in fact deliver scientific evidence that these balls of light might very well have caused the crop circle. Inside crop circles, it was discovered 5 or 6 years ago that the nodes, which are the knuckles in the stems, are actually much longer, quite often. And it is suggested that this increase in length is a result of heat. The nodes get warm, they expand, it's a thermal expansion, and they remain long afterwards. So you can measure the increased node length.
And that's exactly what he did. He sampled several crop circles and very meticulously measured hundreds of nodes. The outcome was crystal clear. The nodes had expanded the most in the centers of the circles. The closer to the perimeter of the circles, the less the nodes had expanded. Dr. Hazeloff then compared this distribution model of node lengthening with several other mathematical models and discovered a 100% match with one of them. The mathematical model of electromagnetic radiation distribution of a point source.
If you take the electromagnetic model for a point source, which is a ball of light, it's a small source of electromagnetic radiation, and you look at the intensity distribution of this radiation on the floor level, then it's something you can calculate. It's easy, it's straightforward physics. You can compare this with the light intensity distribution from a light bulb hanging on the ceiling. Right below the light bulb there's a bright light, and towards the edges gradually